Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Welcome to our 5th anniversary season. I'm so excited that you joined us. Oh, yay. Cue the confetti. You've tuned into our 203rd episode, which is amazing to say out loud. So it's also our new format, which is live streaming. So if you've been a fan of the show for the previous few years, you would listen to us on your favorite podcasting app. But now you also get to see the show get made and see our guests live on YouTube streaming. So I'm excited that you're here. Please subscribe to our show so that you get notifications about our upcoming episodes, and definitely add comments during the course of the show. We'll have a Q&A at the end, and we'll definitely want to share your questions with our guests. So the format of the show has changed a little bit too. We'll have our 30-minute interview, and then that will be followed by what we're calling our after show, which is a fun, silly game with each guest. And like I said, Q&A. A lot of these questions come from our fans on social, but feel free to add them today as well. And in a few weeks, you'll be able to download this episode on your favorite podcasting app and listen on the train or in the car, wherever you like to consume podcasts. So, I'm super inspired by a lot of creators out there, but, if you know me at all, I'm a huge Bravo fan. So Andy Cohen and his Watch What Happens Live is always a source of inspiration for me. And I think you'll see that come to life in the fun games that we do in that after show. So please stay tuned in for that. So for our 203rd episode, I'm very excited to continue our theme of technology. And joining us today is Carolina Reis Oliveira. She is the co-founder and chief executive officer of OneSkin. Welcome to Where Brains Meet Beauty.
Thanks, Jody. It's a pleasure to be here.
I'm so excited to talk technology with you because this is your everyday. And I want to start with my favorite question, since this is a career journey podcast. Let's go all the way back. When you were 11 and 12 years old, what did you want to be when you grew up?
So I was always interested in science. I loved biology, chemistry. I didn't know exactly what I want to be. I know that I want to work with health. So potentially being a doctor. So this was something that always crossed my mind. I remember even joking with my mom that I want to be a dancer because I love dancing, but I don't think that ever was a real passion in terms of pursuing professionally. But that interest for science started growing more and more. And I think when I was in high school, I remember that I was studying genetic engineering, and I was so fascinated about, wow, can we have this power of manipulating DNA and understanding how these things happens in a very low scale, very small scale. And we can basically, we can manipulate life, right? By understanding those genetic engineering tools. So that's when I really got super excited about, using this power of science to really improve humans' health. So I would think about, curing a disease or, helping people to live a better life. And that's how I started dedicating my life to research, and eventually, got me to where I am today.
So Carolina, how do we go from improving human health to the beauty industry?
Yeah, that's a very interesting journey. And it's funny because I still don't consider that OneSkin is a beauty company. I still consider that we are on the health industry. so, so basically, I decided to I did I got my major in biochemistry, and then on my PhD, I decided to study stem cell biology and tissue engineering because I was fascinated about the potential of stem cells to really help curing diseases. And that led me to pursue my first, I would say, entrepreneurial venture back in Brazil. And initially, we were focusing on replicating human tissues in the lab. So imagine that we can regrow human skins, we can regrow like mini brains or mini hearts, and these would be used to test new drugs and try to evaluate toxicity and efficacy. So that first venture didn't work out for several reasons, but got me to the opportunity to come to the US in 2016. So I joined IndieBio. IndieBio is like me to start their companies and to really build a scalable business that will impact like hundreds of millions of people. And uh, and we decided to focus on this sector of skin aging, and initially we were focusing on validating the efficacy of anti-aging products that were already available in the market. So because we can grow human skins, we can also test products and we can measure if those products they are changing what we call the skin biological age. So I don't know if you guys have heard about that, but different from our chronological age, we also have our own biological age. That means how healthy is our tissue. So our biological age can be, changed. It's a malleable, I would say, aging is a malleable process, and we can, reverse this biological age with different interventions. So and how we measure that, basically we read the DNA of the skin to see if a given intervention would um, change this skin biological age. So in this process of testing products that were available in the market, basically we needed to learn so much about aging. And this brought me a very interesting realization that made all the dots, to connect. And basically is that aging is the main risk factor of for most of the diseases that we experience as we grow older, right? So after we cross like 60s, the chances that we are going to have Alzheimer's, cancers, cardiovascular diseases increase exponentially. So why not treating age in the first place instead of like trying to treat specific diseases? And I saw so much going on in terms of the science and the research in terms of finding new interventions that can target aging at the root cause. And then basically I saw an opportunity to bring that approach to target skin aging and to develop better products, more effective products that were intended to rejuvenate the skin, but using a very clear rationale of targeting the root cause of aging, and then the consequences that we would improve the health of the skin and consequently the appearance of the skin. So since the beginning, we were never only focused on the appearance. We were always focusing on how we can promote the health of, our body, our tissues, and the skin is I would say, is the first, application for this technology. Obviously, we are meeting a very important need in the market. It's not only a need in terms of helping our customers to feel better about how they are aging, but also bringing the messaging that your skin starts to deteriorate as you age, and this can compromise your overall health. So keeping a healthy and functional and youthful looking skin, it also reflects like the health of your skin and the health of your body. So we can go a little deeper on those topics, but I just want to connect that our goal is still, to be promoting health first, and beauty is a consequence of that process.
So Carolina, let's talk about your journey, because you started the first business, right? Not OneSkin, but the business you started in Brazil really soon after graduating. What gave you the courage and the inspiration to just start a business? I mean, that's you certainly could have go for work to many different kind of biology companies or innovation companies.
Yeah, definitely. I had great inspiration from my family. So my brother, I saw him just before he finished college, starting a business in Brazil that was about reforesting, so a very sustainable business. And I saw him starting from an idea that I remember that was very ambitious, like for junior, graduated student, uh, in becoming something that was real and was creating a massive impact, in the ecosystem. So basically, they bought this huge lands and they start like planting trees, and they were generating so many jobs and really changing the ecosystem in where they were developing this business. And I saw this so I saw this so I saw this as such an inspiring and powerful way to make an impact. And on the other hand, I was always looking for being independent and trying to um, create things that I believe that needed to exist, for the humanity. So if I want to live like a healthier life, and if I want to age in a very healthy way, or if I want to age in a future in which aging doesn't mean any limitation to my life, I want to help to create that future. So I want to be, the protagonist in this journey. And I don't want to complain about aging, or, the things that are happening to me, but I want to make sure that I'm creating ways that will not allow, everyone, but also myself, to age and to, live in the future. That's what I want to see for myself, for my family. So I want to be a tool of, change, and not sit around expecting for change.
So Carolina, how did you go about raising money for the previous business and this one? I would imagine an innovation company like this, there's quite a lot of runway you need in terms of your financing.
Yeah, definitely raising is one of the most challenging, I would say, parts of, creating a company. Uh, First, because at the beginning you don't have a lot of data to show, and you need to find people that will uh, trust in the team. So trust first, in the founders, and see the opportunity, right? See the obviously the market opportunity, but that trust that we are the right people to solve that problem, and why we are the right ones to do so. It's super, super important. And then from there, you needed to show that you are able to deliver the results that you planned to do with that investment, and then keep, I'd say, exceeding the expectations of your investors. So it's I usually say that's like a double-edged sword, of fundraising, because it's a really painful process, but it's also a process that I learn and I grow so much, not in terms of how I can improve myself, and how I can deal with that feedback that a lot of times they're tough, and you can take it personal, or you can take in a way that helps you to grow, but also how that is helping the business, because a lot of the questions that they're bringing are really designed to de-risk the business. So, and we can only think in so much when we are growing the business. So having those different perspectives really help us to think about the different strategies, and even like accelerate our process of development. So I would say that in the end, you'll find people that will align with your vision, that will, share that dream with you. And you need to just make sure that those are the right partners that you want to work with, because it's definitely like a marriage, right? It's not something that you can go back and divorce. But I've been very lucky and privileged to find like incredible, investors and supports to be helping me along the way.
I think that those moments where it's really hard and uncomfortable are the best, because that's where you're doing the most learning. And I think about it as if like I'm at the gym, right? If it's not hard, then I'm probably not doing it right, right? Or I'm not pushing myself in a way that's going to benefit me. So I do not like side planks because they're hard. But if I did more side planks, they would get easier, right? But I am stubborn and I just don't want to do them, right? And that's pretty similar to the process of navigating these hard situations at work.
Yeah, and I think it's also a balance in terms of how much you are doing it right in a way that's obviously, making you stronger, or how much you are letting, you are pushing so hard, or you are letting that affect your mental health, right? So, for example, even like a few months ago, I was getting so stressed out with like fundraising that I was not sleeping well. I was not even, being so productive. So I was almost like close to a burnout. It's something that I never thought, I would experience. But it can build up, and if you don't have a very strong mental process in terms of working with yourself and kind of releasing that stress and making sure that you are in control, not letting things like take over you, I think this is essential, if you want to be on this journey for the long run. And sometimes we just I don't know, overlook some of those important things, and when you see you are almost close to something that's not healthy for you. So
Have you met other founders in your space that have given you advice around how to take care of yourself during the journey?
yeah, that's very interesting, because I have a group of entrepreneurs that we meet once a month, and this group is amazing. And they are all guys, and I'm the only girl. And I mean, I love. They are so supportive, and they are so smart. And in one of those meetings, I was sharing, like, I'm so stressed out. I don't want this like for my whole life. I don't want that this journey shouldn't be that painful. It needs to give me pleasure and happiness. And then one of them shared something that I'll never forget and makes totally sense. And I completely already, start to implement in my life, that they said, Carolina, if you are not able to conquer yourself first, you cannot conquer anything else in the world. So that's it. And then another guy shared that he was the most stressed out of the whole group, and he shared that he started doing 1 hour meditation every day, and then now he's like, this person like in peace and centered, and so saying, wow. Yeah. And then I was into meditation, but I was not giving that importance. And I think these two things like made me to realize that, yes, I first needed to be in control of myself. And obviously, this time for myself and putting my thoughts together. So meditation is now a huge priority for me. But it's super important to have that support, because a lot of times you are trying to figure out things by yourself, and it's not easy, right?
I love this advice. And it's so wonderful that you have this group, right? Because it can be so lonely building a business. It makes me think of my journey. I realized that, I have my work, right? But, and I spend a lot of time doing that. And I have my family and I spend a lot of time with them. But I think what I spend the most time on is helping myself evolve as a human, right? Like feeling more whole as a person. And these challenges at work, or even the fun, easy stuff at work, it's all helping me find my whole self. And so I actually, when I think about my work week or my work day, I spend more time working on myself, right, than anything else. Because if I'm, facing my fears and my anxieties
Mm-hmm.
through work, it's testing me, right? It's helping me grow
Yeah.
as a human. And then it benefits the business, it benefits my family. But I think the number one job is, I'm a work in progress, and like I keep
Mm-hmm.
progressing, thankfully,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Acknowledging that, right? I think I've seen some people that they block a time in their agenda just like to think, or basically to check in with yourself, right? And I think this is so important because, yeah, as you said, if we're not well with ourselves, then everything else gets compromised. And I can clearly see that I get much more reactive. I get a little less patient, if I'm not in that best, balanced state.
I actually just like made a note to myself of something you said that I like, need to adopt in my life. So I love this podcast because for me it's free therapy, Carolina. It's so helpful. And I think that magically the universe brings me the guest the day I need to hear these messages, which is so cool. And I hope for our listeners it's the same for them. Okay, so we're our whole theme this quarter is technology, and obviously, like your business and yourself, it's like an obvious fit. Clearly, your day to day is all about technology, right? You're innovating in a way that it's not a language that I'm used to hearing, right? So you've been speaking about longevity as a category. Um,
Hmm.
so I only started to hear about this like maybe a year ago. Is this like the new like health and medical space? Is that what we're going to be hearing about, longevity?
Yeah, that's the way that I see, and I think a lot of my peers agree. Obviously, we saw how massive is the wellness space, but I think there is still a lot of unclarity in what is really impacting your life or your health, and what's just using the the momentum to sell something else. And longevity will be I see as the new wellness category in which we will offer products that are scientifically developed and to have a significant impact on your health. So the difference is that everything is backed by data. Everything comes from a very clear fundamental process. So, for example, the way that we developed this product, it's not the classic way that another brand would do. We came with a hypothesis, right? So what is the most important aging process that we should intervene in order to have a very significant age reversal effect? So we evaluated like a series of options. We created a hypothesis. We tested this hypothesis. We got to results. We optimized, we iterate until we got to this product. And on the same line, other products that are focused on your longevity as a whole, for example, supplements, or even other devices that can help, measuring your biological age. I want to check if I'm 36, is my biological age at 30 or at 42? If it's at 30, great. I can keep, doing the same things that I'm doing. But if it's at 42, I needed to change, some habits. I need, potentially to do some different treatments. So I think this new longevity category is a category that's coming to empower us with data so we can take actions, and then we can measure, we can quantify the effect of those actions. So basically, taking the guess out of the conversation. It's more like quantitative, and that's also how I believe that we create a bigger impact because there is no BS there.
So, Carolina, for our last question, I want to talk about this idea of growing the business as being seductive. It's a word I use a lot because it's an unusual word in business. But once I got a little taste of success or taste of my dreams coming true, I wanted more. Almost like the way sugar, impacts your body, right? I eat a piece of chocolate, now I need 20 more pieces. So I'm curious, because you're in such a pivotal moment in building your business. Do you feel this seduction in the possibilities? And if so, how do you stay focused on what's really important to you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's very easy to be seductive by, or I don't know if seductive be seducted, but is the right word, but be dragged by the pressure of like investors. You need to grow faster, you need to do bigger. Yeah, and in the end you need to check in, like, why I'm doing that. When I started this, what was the vision that I have, right? So as I said, I was never really fascinated about beauty, but I was always fascinated about health, and I know that I want to create an impact on health. And if I continue to check in, if that end goal is still clear, and I'm working towards that goal, I'm not being distracted, I think it's awesome that I want to do bigger and I want to do more, because I'll be impacting more and more people, and I'll really creating a legacy, leaving a legacy. So I think being true to your fundamental principles and in your purpose, it's what will keep you on the right track.
Well, thank you so much for your wisdom today, Carolina. Like I said, I was taking notes during our conversation because I needed to hear some of these messages today.
I'm so glad. Yeah, I mean.
And for our listeners, I hope you enjoy this interview with Carolina. Please subscribe to our series on your favorite podcast app and here on YouTube. And for updates about the show, follow us on Instagram at Where Brains Meet Beauty Podcast. Thank you, Carolina. That was such a great interview. And now I'd like all of our fans and viewers to stick around, because now we have after show with Carolina, where we're going to do a fun game and answer your fan questions.
Awesome.
Welcome to our Where Brains Meet Beauty after show. I'm thrilled to be here with Carolina Reis Oliveira, co-founder and chief executive officer of OneSkin. And we're going to play a game called Specialty Science. So Carolina, I made this for you because I know you love science, and you probably could have gone in 1,000 different directions after school with your talents. So I thought, let's play a guessing game about really unusual fields in science. So maybe these are some fields that you even explored as a student, okay? So, to get these questions and answers, I just Googled. So hopefully the answers are actually right. So we'll go one by one, and we can get started on the game. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's do it. Okay, scatologist. Carolina, what do you think a scatologist is?
Oh my God, I have no idea.
Okay, let's see the answer. The study of fecal excrement.
Whoa, interesting. Okay.
I guess you never considered that, right? You didn't consider that as a career.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I know that I had friends that worked with like microbiome, and they need to do that, but I didn't know, to be honest, that was a specific name for that type of study.
Okay, let's go on to subject matter number 2. Okay, epigenetics.
Epigenetics. Yeah, I love this one. This is my favorite one. So epigenetics is all how the environment influences our genes. So very different from our genetic that is immutable. The epigenetics can make our genes to change, not like can make us to change which genes we're activating or suppressing. And because of epigenetics, we can reverse aging. So we need to learn how to, provide the right stimuli so we can, basically induce our cells to go back in time.
Awesome. Okay, so let's see if I got the definition right on the next slide. The study of how your behaviors and environment can cause changes that affect the way your genes work. That's so cool. So I imagine like there's a lot of study around this, right? In terms of like
definitely.
the environmental impact and like the things we eat and the plastic we use and all this stuff, right?
Definitely.
Okay. Here's one. Pharmacovigilance. I don't know. How do you think you say this?
Pharmacovigilance.
Have you heard of this before?
Yes. So basically, this is a department that helps regulating if when a drug's being developed. So in terms of safety and efficacy. So they are like vigilants to make sure that that drug is it's being properly developed in terms of the steps that it needs to go through.
Okay, I'm going to try to say it. Pharmacovigilance. Covigilance.
Yeah.
Okay. So, when I picked these, Carolina, I didn't think that you would know all the answers. I was trying to find really random things. Okay, let's see if I can find something super random. Okay, herpetology.
I don't know this one. It's something related to herbs.
Okay, let's see. Herpetology is the branch of zoology concerned with the study of amphibians and reptiles.
Okay. So
you did not consider this when you were studying, I suppose.
No. No. I'm very into humans.
Humans only. Okay. I don't know if that was our last question or not. Let's see. I think that might have been it. Unless the frame is frozen.
That was definitely the last question.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you for playing along, Carolina. That was super fun.
Oh, that was awesome. I love it.
Okay, our last part of the show are fan questions. So we got these questions from fans on social media in advance of our session here today. So this is a really good question. What are 2 tips you have for someone looking to make a change in their career?
Great one. I would say first to plan it very well in terms of obviously, don't drop your current job before studying and making a plan for that transition. So make sure that whatever transition you are making is aligned with, I would say, your purpose. You feel like more fulfilled, but also make sure that that won't like compromise at least very significantly in terms of your how you're living your life, right? You don't want to be left unprepared or so kind of create a plan to make that transition.
I love that response. I was just thinking as you were saying that, how did I do it? And I was at a full-time job and I started to get like freelance work on the side. And then I started to get more and more of that. So then eventually it was so much work that I'm like, wait, I don't need to have 2 jobs, right? But even with that preparation, I still was so unprepared. I really didn't know what I was walking into, but at least having that financial security of the first job was really important.
Exactly. Yeah. And you build that financial security, at least like to protect you for a year or so. And obviously the moment that you're going to make the transition, it will be still scary. So you needed to have like, that leap of faith that you are doing the right thing. And there will be, a moment of like, adaptation, but definitely I don't think anyone should be, afraid of like trying something new because it's always better to try. And maybe if it doesn't work, you have like what you had before. And, but having the opportunity to find something that's, makes you much happier and fulfilled.
Okay, last fan question. This is a good one. What are the 3 must-have, can't live without beauty products?
Well, first one, OneSkin. So OneSkin is all in one. So it will make a lot of the job already. Definitely sunscreen. So I would say, even like before OneSkin, I would say sunscreen. Don't leave the house without sunscreen. And for me, maybe, the other one would be like a concealer. I can't I need a concealer every day and maybe some blush.
I love it. Carolina, thank you so much. This is such a fun time. I'm so glad we got to do this together. And I'm so excited that I got to meet you during this time of your business growth and innovation, because there's just really big things for longevity and OneSkin in the future. So thank you for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much, Jody. It was super fun. I appreciate the impact.
Before we leave, I want our fans to meet the people behind the scenes making this show happen. So we're going to bring in our team and have them wave to our fans. So that's Kiwi and Nico and Esperanza. So it's so great to have them behind the scenes. And just a little housekeeping before we all leave. We're going to see you all here again on March 15th. So that's in like 2 weeks, from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern time for our next 2 live stream episodes. Those will be featuring Tara Peterson. She's a co-founder and chief creative officer of NewFace. That's at 3 p.m. And then Alyssa Lask, she's a chief commercial officer of Ryan at 4 p.m. Eastern. And the last piece of news for you is that we are now booking guests for our Q2 themes of sustainability. So listeners, please message me on Instagram at Where Brains Meet Beauty Podcast, or on LinkedIn at Jody Katz for your guest suggestions on the theme of sustainability. Thank you, everybody.